This episode of the Flush Podcast is brought to you by Federal Ammunition, OnX Hunt, Walton's Aluma Trailers, Samaritan Tire, North Dakota Tourism, Lucky Duck Kennels, Compeer Home, and by Gaim Virtual Shooting Simulators. Today we're talking bird dog first aid with Doctor of Veterinary Medicine Clair Maples. Clair is the owner of Paradigm Sporting Dog, which makes first aid kits for our bird dogs. Clair has been a guest on this show before, but we've had listeners ask for the refresher course on first aid as we head into the hunting season, and Clair is gracious enough to provide it. If you hunt a lot, it's not a matter of if an accident will happen with your dogs in the field, but when.
The Flush. So fast, it hardly seems real. So vivid, the moment freezes in time before erupting in a blur of spurs and feathers. It's why we changed the way upland loads are built with Prairie Storm. Exclusive flight control FlexWad technology and a mix of copper-plated lead and flight stopper pellets combine to create dense, deadly shot strings through any choke. Longer shots, more power, fewer missed birds. Only from Federal.
Welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. I'm Travis Frank. Big Al over here to my right is our producer.
I didn't want to be in the video. I was scared.
You're not on camera right now. Your hand shows up. I can see a little bit here. There's multiple screens. Clair Maples, welcome back to the show. I appreciate you making time for us. We've done this before, and we had a lot of great feedback. And we've had more listeners reach out lately asking, can we get back into bird dog first aid? Because hunting season is almost here, and the reality is if you hunt enough with your dog or other people's dogs, it's not really a matter of if an accident will happen, but when. So we want to be prepared for that, and we appreciate you making time to help us do just that.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
So people can learn more about your entire story with Paradigm and your journey into the world of veterinary medicine and sporting dogs. If they want to go back and listen to the last podcast we recorded together, I want to say it's right around this time of the season, 2 years ago. So in 2 years, you've learned probably a whole lot more on the business side of having the side business of the first aid kits with Paradigm. Any guess as to how many kits you've put together now?
Oh, dang. At least a few thousand field kits. I mean, it's weird, but the way that I've realized that is we order these poly bags to pack them in. And it was such a small but weird moment when my staff was like, hey, we need more of these. And I was like, really? Because there was 1,000 in that box, 1,000 bags. That means that hands have packed 1,000 kits. And that was last year.
Wow.
So between myself and then partnering with Matt Davis with Final Rise and selling them through his website as well. Yeah, we've sent quite a few out the door on top of the truck kits as well. Not sure how many truck kits necessarily, but a lot.
It's a lot.
It's wild.
It's pretty cool to see all the success that you've had in the bird dog world. And it's really kind of transitioned. I know you've got a clinic that you work at in your practice. You are a bird hunter yourself, but you've also really been asked to speak at a lot of seminars too, to help people really hands-on learn how to handle with their bird dogs. What has that experience been like for you? And what are some of the most common questions people ask you at these seminars?
I have loved it. So our seminars that we did, a lot of people would ask, are you coming here? Are you coming there? Thinking that it's something that our company is coordinating. And surprisingly, it's not. It's organizations and clubs, Quill Forever, NAVDA, other just individuals that have a lot of bird hunting friends and connections in a certain hotspot that have asked us to come out and do first aid seminar as well as a hands-on. So the hands-on was a really big component of that. And a lot of people asked, are you going to do an online component? But I mean, we can preach and preach stuff on the internet and do recordings and stuff, but there's just nothing that replaces the hands-on training. And so I had a lot of people who I'm like, this is such a good opportunity for you. I'm literally sitting right here babysitting you how to put this bandage on this dog right now. And we used actual dogs. We didn't use like demo dogs and stuff. And so if we flew, we had dogs that were voluntold. And if we drove, then I'd usually take my dogs, and they got very used to having bandages put on them and stuff done. But it was so well received. And I loved getting to network and meet all of these people. I always say it'd be so nice if I could shake hands with everyone that's bought my kit, because it's just the relationships that have come with the company are really important and special to me. And one of my favorite moments from our seminars is we went out to Wyoming, and they happened to have a Quill Forever banquet, Pheasants Forever banquet that night. And it was like the first one that they'd had in years. Their chapter had been revived or something to that nature. And they invited us to go after we did a back-to-back Saturday, Sunday seminar. And that evening, we're sitting at the table with these guys. We're talking about hunting grouse or chucker hunting. And I'm telling them about quail hunting in Oklahoma. And like, it just felt like we had known each other for years. We're talking about our dogs and stuff like that. And just everywhere we went, I left with new friends. And it was so awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's just, and getting to actually meet like your internet friends,
right.
Because the internet connects you so well. But as far as what people ask the most, man, it was a lot of questions about stapling, wound care, bandaging. We did a lot of ear bandaging demos. A lot of people like that one because, the dreaded ear cut that bleeds everywhere and looks like murder scene, but it's not that bad. It just bleeds everywhere. Just trying to think of what else. Hypothermia, hyperthermia, a lot of questions about that. But my presentations are really thorough. I feel like I'm tooting my own horn, but one thing that I liked about my presentations is it wasn't just like you're in a lecture, like getting talked to for an hour. We entertained questions as they arose, and we had discussions, and people shared experiences and stories. And so it was like in the moment, if they wanted to ask something about a certain scenario or something, they could. But usually like your trauma-related injuries are what people ask about the most. And there's always some kind of oddball things that people will bring up as well that they'll share. But it was great. Hopefully we did them throughout the summer, which was a nice balance to our busy season, which is during bird season right now.
Sure.
And then Pheasant Fest. And so I think that's going to be a really good thing to continue to do during the summer. It's hot. People are not, they're training and stuff, but we're not hunting, we're not traveling, things like that. So I really enjoyed it. And hopefully next year we can do more.
I was going to ask, is that something you would want to do more of? Because I'm pretty sure there's chapter presidents, a lot of obviously a lot of bird hunters that listen to this that might say, I want to do that for my chapter. How would they go about calling you direct? I mean, I know you've traveled out of state before, and it seems like something you might be willing to do again.
Oh, definitely. So we really just asked for our travel expenses to be paid and then our professional time, and that was it. You want to make some money off of it. It's still a business, I guess, but
it's your time. You gotta compensate yourself.
We weren't making like thousands of dollars or anything.
You're not getting rich off of it?
No. But to me though, I got rich off the relationships I made. Honestly, like if you want to it sounds cheesy, but that really is the truth. But typically with the registration though, we offered a field kit with it. And so we went over that in person and everyone left with a field kit. So
that's, going over it and doing that is so important. I mentioned before we turned the microphones on here that I'm currently going through a CPR and first aid training class to get certified. And we spent 3 hours last night. We went through different scenarios. We performed CPR. We did the AED training, everything to really help save a life in an emergency situation. But I think what happens a lot of times is when it happens, it's like people can be prepared in their minds, but until they're in a situation where they have to perform, you don't know mentally what that's going to be like. And so repetition, going through something and practicing over and over and over. I mentioned to a couple of people in the class last night about acting under pressure and knowing how to do that. And I went back to my days as a muskie fishing guide, which I don't know, Claire, if you've ever done this, but I know some of our listeners have. A muskie will show up behind your lure like a streak of lightning right at the side of the boat. And you have to make maneuvers under pressure to get that fish to eat. And people panic in the moment when it happens because it literally comes out of nowhere. They freeze. They pull the lure out of the water. All the training that I explained to them, how to do a figure eight and how to work the bait and how to reel it all the way up and increase the speed and do things like that to trigger the strike and hopefully catch the fish. 9 out of 10 of them would just completely lose it in that moment. And so my job over the years was to really kind of get them doing something without even thinking about it. So it's muscle memory, because when that moment happens, they're not thinking, they're just doing it. It's just happening. And so when you go to these emergency situations, you want to be confident in what you're doing. And we went over and over doing CPR in different scenarios. I performed CPR on somebody in a bathroom last night in a busy place in a group set. Like, these are scenarios that you have to go through the right steps. There's a lot to learn. And I'm going to get into more in the coming weeks about why I think this is so valuable. I had somebody drop in the middle of a field one time. One of the guests in our group, he's performed CPR a couple of 100 times on humans. Wow. And one of those was on his father. Saved his life when they were hunting. And so this story, I think, might be one that we're going to tell and I think get people thinking about, or hopefully get people thinking about maybe adding some of these tools to their bag, because real life happens out there really fast. And understanding how to use it, like your seminars, that value that you're giving those attendees is lifelong. Not only do they have the tools now in that kit, they know how to use them because you're seeing it. And that's so huge. I mean, it really is. That's why lately seminars like first aid that you're providing are the fastest booked up seminars at Pheasant Fest the last couple of years. And they will continue to be. Our current chapter, the one that I'm in here in central Minnesota, they just had a class, and I was out of town, but my neighbor's like, that was awesome. He went to it. So just know, Claire, that you are making an unbelievable difference out there. And it's so cool to see you doing that and providing that knowledge. And that's also the reason why normally when we have guests out of state, we do just an audio podcast. But today, if people want to, they can go on our YouTube channel and they can watch this as well, because we're going to break down these kits and you're going to go through some of these items that you have in there. We're not going to go through every scenario because we don't have hours and hours.
It would take hours. Yeah. There's a reason the seminars were like 6 hours long.
Yeah. But there's a lot. There's so much to go through and so many scenarios and so many questions. And our time last night through the CPR course with, it's like, how does this change if it's a baby? There's so many different things that you wonder. So now, you put yourself into the dog first aid. There's so many different scenarios. I've seen several of them play out. I've stitched up my own dog. I've, seen some pretty bad injuries out there in the field too. It does happen. So there's a reason why your kits are so popular. And I think too that when a user creates a product, they tend to do it really well. You're a veterinarian that knows all of the tools, but you're a hunter. You have your own dogs. You know what you need. So you built this kit, which is why I think it's so dang popular and one that so many hunters are finding useful.
Yeah, I mean, I just stapled my own dog this weekend. So
did you? Did you get any bird soap?
She's so lazy.
If you're looking to sharpen your upland shooting skills, or maybe your kids are starting to get into the sport like mine are, then you need to check out Gaim. That's Gaim. Our friends over there are changing the way we approach training. Their cutting-edge virtual reality hunting and shooting scenarios immerse you in the field without actually leaving your home. Whether it's game birds or clays, the Gaim system allows you to practice your shotgun mechanics, giving you real-time shot feedback that allows for instant adjustments. And it's been incredibly fun for my kids. It allows them to safely build confidence, which I know translates to success in the field. Virtual training, real results. Click the show description below to learn more, or visit their website at gaim.com to try for yourself. That's GAIM.com. When your hunting season takes you down gravel roads, through farm fields, and across those frozen ruts, Samaritan Tire Company has you covered. Locally owned with shops in Minnetonka and Edina, they're trusted by Midwest hunters and everyday drivers alike. Need convenience? They'll even come to you with mobile tire service within the Twin Cities metro area. No upsell, just honest advice and dependable work. Visit SamaritanTire.com to book your appointment. Samaritan Tire, where folks still do business the right way. Okay, Claire, let's jump into one of your kits. You have two of them. Maybe give us kind of a quick overview of each one, and then let's break them down.
So our founding one was the comprehensive truck kit, and that has everything in it that, for me, I could imagine myself needing based on hunting experiences. And it's got bandage material, air cleaner, skunk off, different antiseptics, gauze. I mean, so far, people have asked me, well, what have you changed about it? There's a few things that I'm entertaining changing. And I did a couple polls recently on our social media to see people that do have the kits, because I'm like, maybe nobody uses this. And so if you can eliminate a product but yet replace another one, like that affects your pricing. My pricing has been the same for almost 3 years. That's so wild to say. So that probably needs to be adjusted. But one thing that was important was keeping it affordable to the consumer. But that's got literally everything in it. Instruments, burn gel. There isn't anything I've been like, I wish I had that yet. So the thing that I'm looking at maybe adding to it, I really want some kind of hemostatic gauze in there, which, if you aren't familiar with that, it is basically a type of impregnated gauze that you can put in a more severely hemorrhaging wound. So thinking like a severe gunshot wound or something, that's not something that any kind of styptic powder is going to address. And
like
you
a
also,
quick clot type powder, you mean?
Yeah. Well, no, not a powder. Oh, like for the styptic powder?
Yeah.
Yes, that like quick clot. The product I put in mine is called Quick Stop. They're all pretty much the same, but just something that could address something a little more severe, possibly. The problem is those hemostatic gauzes, they're actually pretty expensive. So I've been, probably for the last year, I've ordered a couple different like individual ones to play, like open them, look at them, see if I like them, implement them in practice potentially. But I finally found one I think I'm going to try to go with, and then we may add that. But once again, they're expensive. And so trying to make sure people have a well-rounded kit, but that's also affordable, that's kind of tough. So from a business standpoint, you have to keep that in mind. But so far, I've been really happy with everything. And then our really popular one is the field kit that we make with Final Rise. That manufactures the Molly compatible orange pouches and ships them to me. I ship field kits out to Utah to him, and it works out really nicely. So people can purchase a field kit from me, or when they buy their vest, that was kind of the purpose behind partnering with Matt. When they buy their vest from him, they can add that on to attach to their vest when they get it. So that has things in it to address little minor things that you might encounter in the field. Porcupine quills, if they're mild, moderate, cactus thorns, cuts, mild cuts, scrapes, things like that, torn nails. So far, it's got some eye wash in it too. I haven't really felt like I've been missing anything. I've been able to deal with everything I've encountered with it. So I do, once again, that's something that I've been wanting to add. It's just financially figuring out how to do it without making it out of reach for a lot of consumers price-wise, is add that hemostatic gauze in there. Because I think that would be something that if you did have a really deep cut, or maybe just due to the location, a lot of dogs, they like to cut their leg over that cephalic vein in the front leg and the bend of their elbow, and it'll clot eventually, but it bleeds a lot. So if you had some hemostatic gauze versus trying to put powder, I think that might be a little easier on most people, but that's kind of the synopsis of both of those kits. I don't know when this will happen for me. We'll see. But I have brainstormed a kit kind of in between those because, like I said, the price point can sometimes be a barrier for a lot of customers. And I don't want that to be the case. But some people, they've straight up told me, like at Pheasant Fest, I heard a lot of this, oh, I would never staple my dog. And that's totally fine. As a vet,
What did
if
they
you're
say?
not comfortable, they wouldn't staple their dog.
Oh.
They wouldn't feel comfortable.
Really?
They wouldn't feel comfortable. Yeah, I mean, not everyone is comfortable doing that. I see people as a veterinarian from like all career fields and stuff. My own personal brother cannot handle the sight of blood. He'll pass out like promptly. So there's also the emotional component, right, to stapling your dog, whether we want to admit it or not, especially if that dog is uncomfortable or if they're crying. So, some of these people, these dogs, yeah, they're tools, they're hunting dogs, but they're also people's pets.
Yeah.
And so it's hard sometimes for people to inflict necessary pain or maybe make them a little uncomfortable. So I totally get that as a veterinarian and support people that do not want to staple their dog or
Sure.
implement that kind of aggressive treatment in the field. So if we had something that was kind of in between for those guys, something like a weekend kit, my big selling point is like the truck kit's meant to last you all season, not just a weekend. So maybe we do need a kit that just kind of lasts like a couple weekends for those people that are busy but have bird dogs and they get out, a couple weekends a year to go hunt, and that way they're still set up for success. So that's something kind of on the horizon as well.
So let's just do this. We'll go through each kit. I'm just going to read off some of the items I'll read off all the items in the field kit. This one, it attaches right to your hunting vest. It's got the MOLLE attachments. So I know it's built, and you built this for the finalized vest, but there's several MOLLE attachments, MOLLE vests that are out there now. So this will attach to a lot of them now, which gives hunters a great pack. It's a small pack. Size-wise, how big are we talking here?
So I actually have one behind me. I'll hold it up to see.
Here we go.
The measurements are on the website, but I think it's around 6 by 6.
6 by 6.
It weighs less than a pound.
Okay.
That was important. So some people have asked me, well, why don't you have this? Why don't you have that in it? But for me, I'm a petite female, and this weekend when we were traipsing around Kansas, I was explaining to my friends who were teasing me about not being able to keep up with them death marching across the prairie that
Wow, you're just carrying enough supplies to save every dog's life. That's what you tell them. Slow down.
Well, I mean, I'm like $130 soaking wet, okay? And then my vest probably weighs like 20 pounds. So I'm like, guys, think about the percentage of body weight that I'm toting around compared to you. Y'all are like 200 pounds with the 20-pound vest. That's different. So for me, I was just very conscious of the weight aspect of it. And because that can, after you've been walking a while, just a pound you can start to feel that. At least I can.
I know the feeling. I shoot massive birds and they weigh a lot. Mine are always really big, really heavy, and my vest pouch is just so full and weighted down. So I totally feel your pain.
Such a problem. So many birds in my vest.
So I'm looking at dimensions. It's 6 by 6 and it's 3 inches wide. So that's the vest pouch. And inside of it, you're gonna find alcohol prep pads, Telfa pad, Benadryl 25 milligram tablets, honey packets, quick stop powder, saline eye wash, cast padding, tourniquet, vet wrap, bandage scissors, thumb forceps, also known as tweezers, hemostats, clamps, emergency blanket, muzzle, orange slip leash. So
Yep.
did I miss anything in there?
I don't think so. Sound like you covered it all. I had a lot of feedback about the eye wash the last few years, and a lot of people said, well, why do you need the whole bottle? Because if you notice, it's not like ampules. It's an actual whole bottle of eye wash. And I did order some ampules that I was entertaining maybe swapping out. I used to put a bottle of Benadryl in there, and some people said, we really need a whole bottle of Benadryl. Me, I'm just trying to look out for people's wallets. And I thought, well, it costs close to the same, just a little more. Let's give them a whole bottle. But a lot of people said, hey, I don't really want the whole bottle. I don't want to carry that.
Too much.
And I was like, fair enough. Yeah. So there's a whole bottle in the truck kit, and you could just replenish it, from either over the counter or your truck kit if you end up using it. But the eye wash thing, I was in South Dakota with my dogs last year, and Sally kept, my oldest short hair, she kept running around shaking her head really aggressively, like she had something in her ear. And I stopped, and I've got my phone flashlight, and I'm trying to see, normally they'll have a seed or something in there, maybe a tick sometimes. I don't see anything. She keeps doing it, and I'm like, oh, Malanta, you're going to get an ear hematoma, which is where they rupture the capillaries in their ear flap. So I took the eye wash out of my field kit and squirted some in her ear, massaged it, and just let her shake it out. And it dislodged whatever's in there because she quit. So that in that moment, I was like, no, I'm keeping the whole bottle.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because an ampule I would not have been able to do that with just a one-time use ampule. So
how often do you use the eye wash for eye cleaning, and how often should hunters be using it?
So I use it just as needed. If I visibly see seeds in their eye, that should be part of your tailgate check, is looking at their eyes, pulling their eyelid down. Vet, if you follow her on Instagram, she just did a nice little reel on how to make the third eyelid come up so that you can more easily see those seeds in the eye. And so you can find her page and watch that. But you need to be inspecting their eyes and making sure that they don't have seeds and stuff in them. I don't think flushing the eye as just a regular habit is necessarily needed. It's not bad if you do that, but I won't flush their eye unless I visibly see something in there, or if they're giving me a reason to.
Okay.
Usually they got to give me a reason to flush their eye, but I inspect their eyes. I always do that.
How long does the eye wash last before you need to replace it?
Well, it's going to be, there is an expiration date on it, but most of them are for like a couple years out. You're probably going to use that eye wash before it expires, honestly. And we do know that a lot of products are unopened are fine beyond their expiration date, but it just depends, like how aggressive of a eye flusher are you? Do you use a ton of eye flush? Do you dribble it in the eye? It just depends. I end up flushing eyes back at the truck, and I have curved tip syringes in the truck kit. I really like putting it in those curved tip syringes. I'll just pull the plunger out and cover the tip of the syringe with my finger, fill it up, and then I can use that syringe to create a big blast of pressure into the eye versus the eye wash bottle, which has a bigger opening. And so it's not as pressurized. So I feel like I tend to waste less by doing it like that, but you can flush eyes straight from the bottle is fine.
Why Benadryl in the field? Snakes?
So there's a lot of controversy about that.
I know. I wanted to get controversial here. Yeah. I'm setting you up.
So definitely Benadryl for lost tippings. Dogs stick their nose in places that they don't belong. So for your obvious reasons, that would require an antihistamine. Me personally, as a vet, I'm not afraid to say I will give dogs Benadryl for snake bites. If I'm walking around out in the field and my dog were to get bit, my dogs are snake broke. Hopefully there's been a few instances not on venomous snakes, but it's obvious that that is working for them and that they're avoiding those snakes. I think a lot of those trainers, they'll recommend that you redo that with your dogs, every year or two or something like that. You'd have to ask those guys, but the guy that did my dogs obviously did a good job because they've had some opportunities to avoid snakes and they've done so. But I did a podcast with Backcountry hunters and anglers, and they asked me about the same thing. And I was like, if you put a bunch of general practitioners in a room with a bunch of criticalists and you just said snake bite and ran away, there would be a fight. We would fight.
Yeah. I'm positive I'll get emails on this because, it is controversial. There's a lot of opinions out there.
A lot of so I can speak for like veterinarians, groups of veterinarians as a whole. And I'm open-minded enough to have discussions about it. But your general practitioners, we're usually faced with people who can't afford antivenom or people who cannot hospitalize their pet. And they may say, well, I have like a $200 budget, $150 budget. That's going to get your exam and some medications. And so if that is all you have left, rather than do nothing, I will do Benadryl, and then it depends on timing, some other treatments as well. But there's a lot of literature that supports that Benadryl does not have any effect on snake bites. So that's where that controversy comes from. And your criticalists and your boarded veterinarians, they're very evidence-based people, and I mean, as they should be, but that's where that opinion comes from. Where, well, maybe the Benadryl does work opinion comes from is general practitioners like me who use it in practice and then visibly see it works. We've got empirical evidence there, right?
Sure.
So that's where all that controversy comes from. And honestly, it's just one of those things I tell people, you just need to ask your vet. You need to have a plan for what to do for your individual dog before that were to happen. Does your dog have some kind of underlying diseases that would warrant you going to the ER when another dog might not need to go to the ER? So it's so individual dependent. And that's just conversations that I think are best had with their personal veterinarian. But me, I advise my clients to give Benadryl if they call me and they have a snake bite. And sometimes that's all they've done and the dog's been fine. But as you know, there are such thing as dry bites where dogs are not inoculated with venom. So they're not going to observe the toxic effects that typically come with a bite.
Hunting season will be here before we know it, and hopefully that means you'll be putting food on the table for your family. Do you know what you're going to do with it? How about summer grilling season? Is that going well for you? If you want to take your meat processing and cooking game to the next level, then I suggest you head to Waltons.com. Waltons will open up your world to basically every kind of meat processing item you can imagine. Their motto is everything but the meat because they sell everything but the meat. They cater to commercial meat processors, butcher shops, chefs, hunters, and regular old family cooks like myself. There's a satisfaction that comes from taking your wild game from the field and preparing it in a way that you, your family, and your friends will enjoy. If making sausage or snack sticks or jerky or anything like that seems intimidating, they even have their own online university called Meatgistics with recipes and educational videos to help you learn how to make great food. You don't have to be a pro to cook like one. Head to Waltons.com to learn more. Waltons, everything but the meat.
We know the feeling. When you close your eyes, you're there. Wide open spaces, fresh air. You have big dreams. We also know there's uncertainty between you and your destination. There's the unknown. But we know how to get you there. We've been helping people like you find their way home for decades. We're Compeer Home, and we know the way. To get started or find out more, visit us at CompeerHome.com or by calling 833-986-8001. Compeer Home is a division of Compeer Financial, who is an equal opportunity provider and employer and an equal credit opportunity lender. Compeer Home Services, NMLS number 619731. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved.
OnX Hunt is one of the best tools upland bird hunters have at our disposal today. If you use it, you already understand why. If not, I strongly encourage you to go to OnX.com and just take a look. Or go to the App Store on your phone and download a free 7-day trial of the app and cruise around. Take a look at the different features at your fingertips. It will make you a smarter, more efficient, and more effective bird hunter. You'll be able to see your position on planet Earth and the land boundaries that you can and cannot cross. You'll see the crops in the field. You'll see the kind of trees in the forest and if they've been recently logged or burnt. And you'll know exactly when that happened. That matters if you're a bird hunter. There's tools that you can use to determine distances and directions and the weather. You can use the app without cell service. You can use it on the dash of your hunting rig in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. They keep updating features all the time, and they support our favorite conservation organizations, public lands, and do-it-yourself hunters just like you and I. Always know where you stand with OnX Hunt. I think a lot of hunters that I've talked to that feel like if I gave my dog Benadryl without anything else happening, my dog is not going to die. So because there's a chance that it could help, I'm going to give my dog the Benadryl and say, maybe it'll help. Even if it doesn't, it's not going to hurt. So therefore, they're going to do it. That's what I've heard a lot of my friends and other hunters say in regards to the snakes.
Right. I mean, that's pretty much the logic behind a lot of general practitioners recommending giving it, especially if you're like, taking emergency calls or something like that and someone calls. So there's probably a paper out there somewhere with
many,
like 20 like 20 dogs in the study only that claims that it doesn't work. But empirically, I see it work. Now, and then, of course, I base my recommendations off of the outcomes of previous recommendations. So that might be different for another veterinarian. So that's why it's important that the veterinarian knows your dog, that you're getting recommendations from and stuff. Because I can tell you what to do all day long, but ultimately, I don't know your dog like your veterinarian does. And that's something that I did not want to try to take away with these first aid kits either. We really still encourage people to have a good working relationship with their personal veterinarian in order to use these kits.
Absolutely. Always call your vet. Yeah. The one thing I will add to the Benadryl is you don't just take the bottle and pour it down your dog's mouth. You need to understand how much specifically to give a dog with your body weight. So you should maybe look into that beforehand so that you're not Googling or trying to search how much to give your dog in that moment. You already go into it calm, cool, knowing the plan, and then you follow through with it. Let's move on to let's do the some tools that probably get used a lot. The hemostats, the forceps, the scissors, and the wrap. So let's start with the hemostat. And then we'll work our way through some of the other items that you've got in the kit there. So do you want to show us which one you've included in that kit and why that one in particular?
Yeah, so I just have some, I think they're like 5.5-inch long hemostats. I went with hemostats over needle nose pliers or anything like that because for me having small hands, they're easier to maneuver. When you hold them, this is something a lot of people, for me, it's second nature as a veterinarian, but you don't realize, people that don't hold these on the regular don't know this, but you need to have your thumb and your ring finger through the handles in order to use them. And then I'll oftentimes take my index finger and put over the box locks or the hinge of the hemostat. And then you have pretty good dexterity and control over that instrument so that you can get the nose of the hemostats down in between porcupine quills or little cactus thorns, whatever you're trying to get out. If you have something smaller, you probably won't be able to see it on this video. I'll open it up and see. So I have these brown Adson forceps or tweezers, and they have these crushing teeth on the end of the tweezer. So it's not like a lady's eyebrow tweezer or something like that. So men, don't go stealing your wives' good eyebrow tweezers.
Maybe I already have.
Put in your first aid kit. Yeah. Well, you probably already have. So I like these because they give that crushing effect when you need to grab a really stubborn sticker or something like that. You can actually get it out. Sometimes stickers will slide through the teeth on the hemostat, and then you can't actually get it out.
That's where the tweezers comes in.
Sometimes you might need to use your wife's eyebrow tweezers. Sometimes they're just so teeny tiny, you can't get them, or they'll just work themselves out on their own.
How often do you think, as long as we're on porcupine quills, how often do you think people in the field miss a few quills that are in the dogs? I mean, because those quills can go way, way deep, way into the back of the mouth. They can go into the tongue. I mean, they can lodge and then you don't even realize they're in there. The dog will sometimes work
Mm-hmm.
them back out, even though you think you've got them all. Percentage-wise, how often do you think a dog has quills that the owner has no idea are still in there?
I would venture to say 99%, honestly.
Really? It's that high?
Yep.
Dang.
Simply because any times I have followed up on a porcupine quill getting chomped, it's usually I don't get the hero moment of taking them all out at once, but then I'm the one that is looking for them with my ultrasound because the dog shows up in a few days with like a swelling over its muzzle or something. Or I had one, I took a video of it and I showed in my seminar presentation, but this dog had one that migrated from the top of her muzzle down back behind her very last molar inside her mouth. So I'm pulling this quill out backwards behind her last tooth in the back of her mouth. And for me, I know anatomy real well of a dog. And I'm just thinking, what if it went up and over the eye socket, back into like, that's her brain, that's her eye in there. So it's just wild. But last season, I was helping a friend, this pointer, he got into a porcupine good. So it's just all quills,
whole
straight
mouthful.
quills. And you can feel them if they're broke or if they're real deep, if you just kind of run your hand against the grain of the hair real slow, and you'll feel them poke you. And so I'd found one and I'm digging at it and I'm like, Jenny, I don't know this. Are you sure this is one? She goes, oh, that's probably from Montana a few weeks ago.
It's an old quill.
I was like, okay. So we dug that one out. But yeah, they get missed a lot. And a lot of my follow-ups that I've done are after a colleague has taken them out, like in the ER. But what dog, it's not for neglect or anything like that on the owner or the veterinarian's part. It's just that the dog, usually in the process from it happening to getting to the vet, the dog has rubbed their face, they've pawed their face, they've done something to break them off. And so for me, it's almost expected if I take out quills, okay, see you in like a week to get the ones that broke or migrate, So it's very, very common, actually.
Is it possible that a dog can just push it out on its own?
Oh, I have not. I guess I don't know.
Like
it's
you
possible,
say,
but I think,
when you say it migrates in, could it migrate out to the point where all of a sudden you feel
that's
it?
the thing. They don't want to migrate out. They just keep migrating through tissue. And so they might like poke out slightly. I guess I don't know if they would make their way out. Usually we find them when they have poked through the skin if they've migrated, and then we end up manually removing them. So would they make their way out? I don't know. The ones that I've seen that are like several weeks past when it happened have become granulated, the body granulated around them, and it's almost like a foreign body at that point. So I would not bank on them making it out on their own, I guess is what I would say. If you've got some remaining, then that's something that you probably want to follow up with your vet to check the dog over.
How about mean seeds? We hear people talk about mean seeds all the time. They also migrate too. What are some signs to look for that your dog maybe has some mean seeds? Where would they find them? In the paw, in the snout, in the eyes?
In the chest.
In the chest, yeah.
So in the foot, you might notice your dog is licking one of their paws excessively, like really spending a lot of time on one particular foot. You might notice some little swellings. They like to, on the feet, especially like your setters and your hairy dogs, they like to get in that hair and they'll migrate between the toes up the leg. I mean, that's how they can migrate up the leg and up into the thoracic or the chest cavity. So if your dog is really nursing this foot for some reason, take a look. And even though a lot of people are real attached to the feathers on their dog's feet, might weren't shaving the feet, so you could see a penetrating area from the seed. For the eyes, if they've got seeds in their eye, I had one of my friends, little Munsterlanders, she got one behind her third eyelid, which is that inner corner pocket, and it rubbed back and forth on her cornea, gave her a really big corneal abrasion. But numbed her eye, removed the seed, healed up fine. But that dog promptly the next day because it had been scratching and rubbing on her eye. She was squinting, a lot of discharge. So I tell people, do not sit on a painful eye. So if your dog is squinting, looking at you and got discharge, that eye hurts, and there may be a scratch on it, maybe a foreign body in the third eyelid, they need to go to the vet and just have the eye diagnostics are pretty easy and straightforward. So, as far as like more severe cases where, you hear about like pyonthorax or pneumothorax, that sort of thing, where they're migrating to the chest. That's where you hear stories about dogs that have to have lung lobectomies because they'll develop abscesses due to these nasty things. So if you notice that your dog's respiratory rate is increased at rest, that's a big clue. Their mucous membranes are like lavendery or purple with activity that they normally can tolerate really well. That could indicate that they're experiencing some respiratory distress. But the respirations at rest, emphasis on at rest, like your dog needs to have been relaxed and asleep for a while. That could be a clue. Fever, they'll often have a fever if they do have one of those in their chest, because that's a body cavity. It's usually going to be create a pretty prominent inflammatory response at that point. So they'll have a fever with it. They'll oftentimes won't eat. Blood work can sometimes be kind of boring. So I've heard a lot of people tell me, I took my dog to my vet and I was like, it's got to be a seed in the chest. It's got to be this. Like, he's just not breathing right. Something's not wrong. And then it was kind of dismissed. And I hate that happens, but then they end up, the dog like collapses at some point and they end up in the ER to find that, in fact, there was like a seed that had resulted in an abscess or something like that in the chest. And it gets dealt with on emergency rather than when the dog was a little more stable. So don't be afraid to advocate for your pet, for your dog, if you do feel like something's not right, because there's probably not something right and needs to be looked into. Well, those are kind of the telltale things to look for.
So here's an example. My dog lately, she's been waking up in the morning and she does this. And she's
just doing it over there. I can hear her.
Yeah. So she's always had these weird tics where she flaps her ears when she wakes up and does weird things. And it's just like these tics. But this has just been the last couple of weeks. And my wife has commented on it. Big Al over here, he's said, why is she doing that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if she maybe has something in her nose. I literally am like peeking. I'm looking
I
deep
think it
into there.
sounds more like a cough than something from her nose. But
is it kennel cough? Is it?
Take her to your vet, Travis.
I know. I was just thinking about doing that, actually.
Go get some rats.
I've heard her do it at least 3 times this podcast.
But it's weird because then she'll go days where she doesn't do it.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden she does it again. And I'm like, okay, is there something there? And then the rest of the day goes by and there's nothing.
It sounds like she has something like tickling the back. Like when we feel like we have a tickle on the back of our throats, like that's what it sounds like. Like she's trying to get it out.
All right. So this is probably a good segue into Hunt.Vet, right? Yeah. Yep. Which is a completely different thing. We're just going to jump right over to that.
Yeah.
What is Hunt.Vet?
So it's Hunt.Vet is the website. It is an online platform that my friend and colleague, Dr. Seth Bynum, you guys may know him as Bird Dog Vet on Instagram. So he created that as a way for people to locate sporting dog veterinarians in their state. So what you can do is get on there and type in your zip code, and it'll pull up veterinarians that are nearby you. And a kind of cool thing that he did in the beginning when he was creating the database of veterinarians is he actually put out a survey for hunters, bird dog owners, to submit their veterinarians to be listed on the site. So it's not something where as a vet, I can say, ooh, I want to be listed on there. Like, people recommended me, which was really cool. So a lot of these doctors have been recommended by their own clients. So that's already some validity behind that doctor. And then Um, you're given, so when you're invited to be listed on the site, as someone to contact or someone who's a sporting dog vet that sees bird dogs, he has like a questionnaire set up that you go through and fill out. So what do you offer? Do you offer reproductive services, acupuncture, rehabilitation? Do you do tails and dew claws, things like that? So a whole list of stuff. And then he has another non-vet related section that asks like, do you do hunt tests? Do you hunt with your dog? Do you do this? Do you do that? That sort of thing. And you go through and fill that out. And he created a formula that creates like a score for you. And I don't remember what mine is. I don't know what there's not like a maximum and a minimum. It just calculates a generalized score for you. So that score is related to your involvement in the industry and bird dogs and hunting and stuff like that. So that's how you can find if you're looking for a new doctor or if you are looking for a place to call ahead. Like I encourage a lot of people to call veterinarians close by to where they're going to be hunting so they kind of have a plan. So if you're wanting to start there, that's a good resource. And then recently he just launched a chat with a vet online platform where, let's say, you, Travis, right now, you just kind of want to get some general advice on what you should like call and ask your vet regarding your dog. You can log on there. And it is a small fee per like conversation. So you can check the website to see pricing and stuff, but it's very affordable. And then you can ask like, hey, my dog's been doing this breathing thing and I I'm not sure if it's something I should be concerned about or not. And then a veterinarian could be anywhere in the US actually, that's happened to be online and sees it, will like claim your question and then say, hey, like it could be XYZ. I think you should really consider going to your vet to get these diagnostics, blah, blah, blah. So if it's like 10 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night and you just need some advice. Sometimes people I've noticed being in private practice and as a general practitioner, sometimes people don't necessarily want you to come in and look at their pet at 10 o'clock at night. They just want to talk to someone that they know and feel comfortable with to get some advice.
Yep.
So that's kind of the purpose of it. Legally, you can't provide like true veterinary advice for a specific individualized problem. But for those people that are just kind of seeking advice, that's a great resource. Or like me this weekend, I was thinking, wow, if I were a client, like it's a weekend, my regular vet would be closed. I could get on here. You can send pictures to it. And if I was trying to be like, hey, can I staple this or should I take her to a vet? You can send pictures. They can like video and ask questions and they can advise you on what to do. So it's a really cool online resource for sporting dog enthusiasts.
Love it. Awesome. So I'm hearing my dog doing this kind of clean her nose out or something. What advice are you going to give me on Hunt.Vet? If I were to call in, what like this is a prime example, right? This is something that a hunter would say, I don't know, maybe she got some grass in her nose. Maybe there's something, I checked her nose, I checked her mouth. I don't see anything. Should I be worried?
Well, probably what is going to happen is you're going to get asked a lot of different historical questions. So with that type of symptom, it's under this big umbrella of so many things. And so you're going to get asked, well, have you traveled here with her? Have you gone anywhere where like certain fungal diseases are prominent or certain infectious diseases are prominent, gone to boarding, gone to dog daycare, anything like that, trying to rule out infectious things, ask you about her activity recently. And then based on your responses to those, they're going to kind of prepare you for options that your vet will probably present to you. So like in your situation, you would probably have someone say, okay, so you're likely going to need to have like a sedated exam where you can look up the nose with a little instrument because as you have already realized, you can't see up their nose holes very well.
Right. Yeah.
We actually have we use an otoscope actually to look up nostrils in dogs. And so it works real nice. You can slide it up their nose hole and it's magnifying and you can see in there and see if there's anything foreign, as well as do a sedated oral exam. So, and then possibly some diagnostics, blood work, x-rays, that sort of thing. So for you, it would be more of preparing you for what your vet would probably recommend. And sometimes as someone who sees a lot of people that come to me because I see sporting dogs, and even though my colleagues are more than capable of taking care of them, they have assigned me with more authority to treat their dog because of what I do outside of being a vet. So in your instance, it almost creates some trust between you and the vet that you're going to speak with, because you're probably going to be way more open to doing what a vet you've never met recommends after hearing it from me.
After hearing it from you, I was just going to say, it's just reaffirming that somebody else that feels this way, stands by that as well. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Daisy. But the thing is, it's weird. Like she might not do it again till...
It's not bothering her at all.
Yeah, it's not affecting
she's like,
anything.
I'm being recorded. I'm not going to do it.
I know.
Just put her up there on the desk, Travis.
I know. Part of me is like, I want to put
a microphone.
I want to get a video. Yeah. No, she's not doing it. She's just sitting here chill. She's like, what are you guys doing? We going hunting anytime soon, Dad? No, she's literally just totally fine. It's almost like one of her weird ticks that she does where she flaps.
She does
every time she gets
does have some weird ticks.
She does. She totally does. And when she ends up next to my bed, she sleeps next to the boys at night downstairs, next to my son. And then every night in the middle of the night, she quietly walks up and lays in her dog bed next to the bed, next to me, so that when I get up, in case I'm going to do something fun, she doesn't miss out on it. So when I flinch, she pokes her head up and she's like, let's do this, Dad. And so she gets up, she stands up, she stretches, and then she goes, flap, 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 flap. Her ears go pop, 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 and she wakes up my wife every single time. And I want to wake her up quietly, be like, yeah, she just did it right
like
there.
That,
yeah, just right there.
Or like when you scratch her in the right spot, then she does that again too.
Yeah, she always does the ear flap thing. It's just a weird tick. And that's where I'm wondering, did she just add another?
Oh, there she did it.
What?
She's doing it.
Do it again.
Oh, no, she's not doing it. She did it twice.
Yeah, you okay there, girl? Try it again. Here. Pop, 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 pop. Try it. Huh? There she did. Darn it.
She was doing it though. It was like
it's like a
yeah,
a weird thing. All right, I guess I got to take her in. Enough about me and Daisy. Back to the show here. Okay.
Start planning your fall hunt in North Dakota at HelloND.com. North Dakota has over 875,000 acres of private land open to walk-in hunting, all part of the PLOTS program. The 2025 spring crow counts are up 6% statewide after a 37% increase last year. Pheasant numbers are on the rise in North Dakota, with statewide brood counts and harvest numbers showing strong positive trends. If waterfowl hunting is your game, North Dakota's 2025 breeding index was the 33rd highest on record. The state central region is home to over 2.6 million breeding ducks and prime habitat for hunting waterfowl. So welcome to a hunter's paradise in North Dakota. Visit HelloND.com.
Hunting season is right around the corner, but the time to haul gear and equipment never really ends if you're active in great outdoor adventures all year long. Aluma has trailer models for all of your hauling needs, from ATV and UTV trailers to utility, snowmobile, motorcycle, car trailers. Basically, if you need to haul it, Aluma has a trailer built for the job. I've been towing with their trailers for years now, and trust me, they tow like a dream. Their trailers are constructed out of lightweight, strong, corrosion-resistant aluminum, and they're 100% maintenance-free. Plus, they come with an industry-best 5-year warranty. American-made in Bancroft, Iowa. Visit alumaklm.com to find a trailer that fits your needs.
Your most devoted friend doesn't put on a seatbelt or stand on 2 legs. You're his keeper, and you'll do anything to protect that bond. Protect them with the Lucky Duck Kennel. Lucky Ducks are 5-star crash tested from the center to keep your hunting partner safe. The patented one-piece rotomolded kennel is durable yet lightweight, so anyone in the family can move it. Lucky Duck Kennels feature stainless steel hardware, powder-coated tie-downs, and are proudly made in the USA. So go to LuckyDuck.com today and see the full line of kennels and accessories. Keep your dog safe from the unpredictable with the Lucky Duck, because loyalty goes both ways.
So let's talk about the honey packets, and we'll wrap up the field kit, right? Honey packets are used for what? Just so people probably have heard this before, but Please remind them why.
I'm laughing because we talked about this a lot in the last one.
Yeah.
uh, so the honey packets are in there for low blood sugar. So if your dog is acting, the best way to describe it is like a little delirious or delusional, wobbly. Maybe they're a really prompt retriever, but they're just taking forever. Maybe they put the bird down to stand and look around. Just weird stuff for your dog. And you've been hunting for a couple hours. That might be something you should check them for and see. But that's what the honey packets are for, so that you have a easy single dose way to provide a little glucose in these dogs that we're worried may have hypoglycemia or low blood sugar.
Any certain amount that you'd want to give them? One packet?
So usually just a packet is enough. This came from the technique that we'll do in the clinic, where most clinics will have a bottle of Karo syrup, and we will put a little blob on like a popsicle stick or tongue depressor and put it between a dog's cheek and gums to get rapid glucose increase. But dextrose is also an option, but this is easier because it's just single packets and you can replenish them from whatever fast food place you want.
Sure.
I did have a gentleman in Wyoming. I have to share this joke. We're going over the field kit contents and he goes, "But you could get a covey of biscuits with these." It's like,
right,
oh Lord.
Right.
The dad joke.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Let's go to the quick stop powder. Is
Okay.
that something, if you apply it, that you need to make sure to clean out entirely once you get back to the vehicle?
Not necessarily. I mean, unless the wound is dirty, which it could be, especially if it's like a toenail. Usually it's going to get cleaned out because you're going to have to clean the wound. So it gets cleaned out because of the nature of the like steps that you need to take, not
The
because
next
of
process. You've got a dog that's badly cut, a lot of blood. So you put that on out in the field, then you get the dog back, then you take the next steps.
Yeah. And sometimes, so this is why I'm hoping to add some hemostatic gauze, is because what can happen, let's say you do have a decent cut and you put a scoop of this, pile of this on it. I like to take these Telfa pads and I'll put like a tiny little dime-sized pile in the middle of the Telfa pad and then smack it over whatever is bleeding and wrap it. And that way you've got the blood stop powder on it as well as the pressure of the wrap. So really the only things to treat hemorrhage in the field are going to be clotting agents like your quick stop powder, hemostatic gauze, or pressure. So manual pressure with a bandage, your hand, a tourniquet. But when you get it back to the truck, and this happens in practice all the time, or like I'll be doing surgery and this happens, you'll get a little vessel to quit bleeding. But then when you start touching it with gauze, wiping over it, you can dislodge that clot that formed and it'll start bleeding again. So sometimes you might even like reapply some of this for your more formal wrap on something that's bleeding. So.
All right. We're going to jump into, for the sake of time, we're going to jump into the truck kit. And the first aid truck kit is a Plano waterproof hard case. It's 15 by 10 by 8. So not too big, but large enough that it's going to hold a few more items. And those would be a stapler, a staple remover.
It's a long list.
Yeah. Chlorhexidine rinse, saline wound wash, iodine scrub brush, 3x3 gauze, syringes, a couple different kinds, a curved syringe, a lure. Did I say that right? Lure slip syringes.
Lure slip. Yeah. It's just the name of the
hydrogen
syringe,
peroxide, skunk off, cotton tip applicators, ear flush, eye wash, honey packets, NutriCal gel, triple antibiotic ointment, alcohol, prep pads, lubricating gel packets, burn gel packets, lidocaine, quick stop, diphenhyd. You're gonna have to say that one. Basically,
Benadryl.
Benadryl. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Telfa pads, cotton cast padding, vet wrap, elastic adhesive tape, tourniquet, Mylar rescue blanket, digital thermometer, Brown Adson forceps, otherwise known as tweezers, Kelly hemostats, clamps, bandage scissors, pen light, heavy duty nail trimmers, muzzle size large, latex gloves, and the orange slip leash.
told you it was
Why
long.
don't you just take a second and just
Thank you.
get your breath?
Wow.
You did. I'm proud of how hard you tried with some of those words. I wouldn't have been able to do it.
It's
You
embarrassing
actually did
sometimes.
really well.
Thank you.
See?
You did really well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, see how she's positive and you're negative, Alex. Come on. Let's do if some of the items are similar to what you have in the field kit, but other ones, the main ones in this kit, the reason why somebody would want to have this versus the smaller kit, what would that be?
So let's see. Well, the stapler's a big one. And for those that are following us on social media, Sally, I told you, cut herself this weekend while we were chicken hunting. So she gave me a really good opportunity to do a stapling video out on the prairie. That's how my dogs are a partial tax deduction, because
Yep.
my accountant's
She's an
like,
employee.
"Claire, are you sure? Like, you're sure you use them for?" I'm like, just look at my Instagram.
Yep.
Just look at the Instagram. It's obvious they're used for business, some percentage anyway. So, so what I like about my truck kit that you won't really find with a lot of kits on the market, and I have these things because I'm a vet and I want to make sure I'm equipped. So I've got a lot of bandage material that is in it. One thing about a lot of the kits that I noticed on the market, so part of the story was like I was looking to just buy a pre-made one because I'm a convenience person, but I didn't like anything. And it looked like there's a lot of stuff, but in reality there wasn't, because it was just a bunch of stuff that you would use in the same way. Didn't give you like a variety of options. So
you just held up 4 different kinds of wrap, it looked like, or gauze, and explain
so kind of like
why there are different kinds.
If you look on our YouTube, I have it's a good old iPhone video, but a bandage video. Hopefully I can make a better one soon. But so usually you'll put a telfa on top of the wound, and then this is called cast padding. It's just a fluffy cotton dressing that you wrap to cushion your bandage, basically. And then everybody knows the good old cohesive bandage or vet wrap. You may know it as that, the stretchier bandage, which you can get too tight. That's something that we really focused on with our seminars, is teaching people the appropriate tightness of their bandages and how to check it so that you don't create a perfusion injury, which means that you cut off some of the blood supply and therefore the oxygen to the tissue by putting your bandage on too tight. And then our Elasticon little brown roll here. A lot of people have asked me, "Ooh, Claire, that's like really sticky. Can I use that to tape my dog's boots up?" And I'm like, well, you can, but it's way more expensive than duct tape. So
go duct tape instead.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to use this, you can, but this brown roll is expensive. So I would save it for your nice bandages that you need to put on your dog. I wouldn't use it if that's all you got and you need to boot your dog, fine. But if you have a choice, use something else that's more affordable. So we've got our bandage material. I put a lot of it in here because I wanted to make sure that people had plenty to get through the season. A lot of kits just have stuff for you to do a bandage. And like we all know, if we have our dogs, you're probably going to need to do more than a bandage throughout the season. And that was something in my poll on Instagram I did recently, is like, did people use all the bandage material? And the ones that said yes, I was like, okay, well, why? Like, are you a guide? Do you have a bunch of dogs? Or what were you using it on? And the people that ran out of it were either using it to wrap ears, which it does require a lot more, because the way I teach an ear bandage is you wrap it around the entire head. You actually fold the ear over the head, sandwich it with a telfa, wrap it around. Maybe I'll make a video on it eventually. I would love to be able to do that, but that takes a lot. And then if you have, if you're an outfitter, you have a lot of dogs, or you're trialing a lot of dogs and traveling, like, you're going to go through it faster if you have like 5 or 10 dogs, right? So that was really the only situations where people were running out of stuff, which they're kind of outliers, right? I've got 3 dogs. A lot of people just have like 1 to 3 dogs. And so this should be appropriate for those people. And then of course, our stapler, which I felt like I somewhat stirred the pot over my Instagram video and the stapler, because we don't put this in our field kit. And the reason is because, let me just show you what you should have to clean a wound in the field.
Perfect. Thank you for doing this. I was going to ask you if you would address
So
a more common cut scenario.
yeah. So these are all, let's see, I feel like I'm missing something. No, I think we're good. Yeah. So gauze, chlorhexidine, saline spray. I have spray because then it doesn't leak. You can spray it. You don't have to pull out a syringe. It's just a lot easier to use. You could, if you wanted, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. I have an iodine impregnated scrub brush. So if you have like a really big, nasty wound that you need to scrub and do a lot more with. And then for people that have used this, you can freshen it up with your saline. That way, if you've squeezed a lot of it out during the cleaning process and you don't have a way to replenish the moisture in it, spray some saline on the sponge and more iodine will get squeezed out of there. So you need at least these things, right? Do you want to carry this in your vest?
Nope. No thanks.
No.
Nope.
I don't. So that's kind of my point. And that was the point with the stapling video, not to mention the stapler to carry, right? So everybody wants to carry a stapler out in the field, but there's no point if you're not going to carry the stuff to clean that wound and do it right, because you'll end up stapling a dirty wound. Yeah, you have to flush it. You have to clean it. And some people asked about, well, you shaved it. Yes, I shaved it. I'm a vet. Of course, I can't like not shave it because that's just in my nature, but you don't necessarily have to shave wounds. I also shaved it so people could visualize the laceration easier in that video. But that did stir the pot slightly because a lot of people carry a stapler and they don't carry other things with them to actually perform that type of thing in the field. So it's just super important. If depending on where the cut is at, so Sally's cut was over her back. She's so lazy going under barbed wire. I watched this happen. She wasn't even running. She literally just
come on, girl, you're not even trying.
No, she wasn't even trying. And like I was crawling under the fence, and then I look up and she's standing there waiting to see like, all right, where are we going now? And she's got this big old cut on her back. I'm like, are you for real right now? Like, why? We're about to go home in like 2 hours and you do this now. So on her back, it was fine. I looked at it to see how deep it was. She did have some what we call subcutaneous fat exposed. So there's 3 layers before you get into like a body cavity. And you've got the skin or the dermal layer, the subcutaneous fat layer, and then your muscle layers. And depending on the location on the body, or I guess a body cavity versus getting to bone, like different layers that will get you down to the skeleton of the dog, right? So I'm inspecting it to see, okay, is this just through your skin, like kind of like a scratch superficially? Do I not need to worry about it? Or have you actually made it into a deeper layer? And she had about 1.5 centimeters, where she had managed to open it up where we could see fat. So it needed to be stapled. Some people ask, well, was that necessary? Like it's so small. But also in the video, you can see where I take some hemostats and I stick it into the cut so I can observe circumferentially around that wound, how deep is the dead space that's been created? Because that is something that will affect sometimes whether or not you need to close it or your vet needs to close it. Because if there's a lot of dead space under a tiny 1 centimeter cut, then that might need a drain put in it. It might need to be left open so that it can drain on its own. It just depends on the situation. And that's something that your vet might need to be involved in if it's that bad. So,
is there a rule of thumb that you use to say you can do this one on your own in the field?
Usually if, so for context, staples are only going to oppose your skin layer. Okay. They're not going to oppose your fatty layer. So that decision is going to be based off the depth of the wound. Is it into the muscle? If you can see muscle, unless it's on a leg where there's hardly any subcutaneous fat, you need to have your vet do it. So if this on her back, if she cut it deep enough where I could see muscle on her back, that's a 2-layer closure. I can't do that with staples. That needs to be sutured and then stapled or sutured again for the skin. So depth is really important no matter how long. And then length can play a factor as well. So one thing that dogs like to do is I call them these V lacerations where like a...
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you good?
Yep.
So I call them these V lacerations where the barbed wire will like puncture into the skin and then it just folds it back along the suture lines of the skin. And it makes this nice big V flap. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen those?
Mm-hmm.
Dogs like to get those like on the side of their chest, their abdomen and stuff where they'll snag on places, things like that. Those aren't really good staple lacerations because they need to be tacked. That skin flap needs to be tacked back deep to the skin and not just secured with staples. So if it's longer than probably an inch, you definitely need to consult your vet. If it's magically just superficial and a little longer than an inch, maybe it would be fine. But usually an inch or 2 is my rule of thumb for it might need a 2-layer closure. The reason for that, the reason the length impacts whether or not you can staple it, is because if you have a really long cut and you staple it, then all of the tension on the skin is placed on those staples. And if you have like a 3-inch long, 4-inch long cut that you have opposed the skin with staples alone, it's probably not going to hold. And you're also going to leave a big pocket underneath the skin where the other layers were not brought together. And that's going to set you up for an abscess, set you up for a seroma, a hematoma, all the doctor words that, you know, you don't want to hear your vet say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, honestly, the Hunt.Vet thing, I think people should really take advantage of that because you can easily send a picture or a little video and say, hey, am I going to make a mistake if I try to deal with this myself?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, going back to the seminar too, I don't know if you teach people how to suture, but my vet did years ago. And that is just really comforting to know how to do that correctly. If you have an old razor, shave your dogs beforehand, that's a big deal. That's a big part of that process too. So just seeing it, I think that's really important.
Yeah. I don't teach the suturing, but the stapling, yes. So there's a lot of different, so not all sutures created equal, and some's dissolvable, some's not, certain sizes. So picking like the gauge, if you will, of suture, the needle size, the type of needle, there's so much variation. That's why we don't have suture in our kits. And so just sticking with the stapler to give people an outlet to do that if they need to.
Sure. If it's a small wound, they put maybe 3 staples in it. How long do you think somebody needs to wait before that dog's ready to go hunt again? Or can they hunt with it in? Do they risk ripping it out by running and hunting?
So somebody asked me that on my Instagram too. And I replied and I said, well, do you want me to wear my hunter hat when I answer this or my veterinarian hat?
Right. You just drove all the way to Montana and you're day 1 of 5 and now your dog has staples in. You're thinking, dang it. I want to go hunting. I came all the way out here to do it. So
it depends on where it's at. And people can see my response to this on our Instagram on that reel. But so for Sally, it was on her back. As long as she was not in a position to get wet. So when you do have a cut, once you clean it up, once you close it, you need to make sure it's not getting wet until it's at least scabbed over nicely. That can take 7 to 10 days. Right now, it's too hot to not let her get wet when we're out hunting. So she will have to wait a little longer before it's healed.
Dang it, Sally.
I think she'll, I know.
Just knew what she was doing. Just get under the wire. Darn barbed wire. That has to probably be one of the most common accidents
on the
for
back
hunting dogs.
or like the elbow crease. They like to get them there.
Happens to me when I try to go under barbed wire too.
Have you ever actually made it safely across barbed wire, Al?
No.
Someday. Someday. Maybe watch a YouTube video to learn how to cross under.
Do you have any tutorials on there?
Huh?
Do you have any tutorial? If you make a tutorial on how to do it, I'll watch it.
That's actually, I wonder how many clicks that would get. How to cross a barbed wire fence.
More so to roast you than anything else.
Right, exactly. Oh my goodness. There is a right way and a wrong way. You learn it in hunter safety training.
And you could show Sally how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
This would be for other humans.
Yeah, but I feel like Sally could use it too.
No, Sally definitely needs to watch a PowerPoint on it or something.
Well, we've taken a ton of your time today. I hope we hit some of the most common questions that you get asked and talk through kind of some of the most common tools in the first aid kit to get people thinking, if nothing else, about being ready for that moment when it happens. Let's hope it doesn't. Let's hope you don't get sprayed by a skunk. Let's hope you don't hit any barbed wire. You don't run into a rattlesnake or a porcupine. But if you do, then at least you have something. Because if you have no tools and no knowledge of a situation, it's a really helpless feeling. You don't want to go out there and feel helpless out there. And hey, it might not even be your dog. It might be your buddy's dog. And your buddy might not know anything about this because they didn't listen to 17 different upland bird hunting podcasts before they went hunting the first time. You know, I mean, there are people, believe it or not, they might be crazy, but they don't listen to podcasts about bird hunting, Al. I mean,
can't believe them.
I know.
I mean, I listen to all the bird hunting podcasts.
That's right. So. That's right. Anything that we might have missed, Claire, that you want to make sure that we mention on this show? ParadigmSportingDog.com. That's where you find your kits if people want to purchase them. Do you have them in stock, ready to ship right now?
Oh yeah. That was the biggest learning curve for me the last couple of years, is just knowing what to keep in stock and keep them ready to go. So thankfully, so far this year, we should be set.
Cool.
So
if people run out of specific items in the kit, can they order just specific items without having to do the whole kit?
They can. So that's something, it's just custom done. And if people will email me or message me on our Instagram or social media, then we can touch base there. But recently I had one of my good customers email and say, hey, it was a handful of things. And I said, well, I'm happy to direct you where you could buy these. Or if you do want me to put you together a custom invoice, I will. Because like I said, I still have my customer's wallet in mind, right? I know stuff's expensive. And he was like, no, I want to support your business and go ahead and send me an invoice. So I just used my little formula for my individual items and figured out how much it needed to be and shipped them out. So if people are needing like specific things, I can send you that. And I do have a bandage refill kit ready to purchase on the website, so people don't have to get a custom invoice for that. And some people, so what my solution was for those people with like outfitters or a lot of dogs is maybe consider when you buy your truck kit to go ahead and buy the bandage refill on top of it so that you have it. Because most people, like we said, that just have a couple of dogs in their household, most people still had plenty of bandage material. So
perfect.
Yeah.
You rock, Claire. I appreciate all of your time and wisdom. I know a lot of people are demanding it, so I appreciate you spending some time with us. Hopefully this helps somebody out in the field this year. If it saves one dog, if it helps anybody, then we've done our job today, right?
Hopefully so. Yeah. Maybe see you again in sooner than 2 years.
That sounds good. I'll see you. I'm assuming you'll be at Pheasant Fest, most likely.
Yep.
Does that mean she'll be on our podcast?
Well, maybe.
She could be on
maybe.
Come to our live podcast.
Yeah, maybe. Are we doing it again?
I don't know. Are we doing it again, Trev?
Probably. I think we're going to have a trivia night again.
Yeah, but I feel like we should get some new people, It's not fair when we hear Tyler, people complaining about George cheating and Tyler cheating and blah, blah, blah,
Maybe we have Claire. Maybe Claire will be, and we'll just do all vet questions.
Oh, Lord.
That would be so great. And then we'll have non-vet contestants with her, so she just mops up.
Yeah, because nobody will think that's cheating.
Well, we can bring it. It's our show.
True.
Yep. All right. Next week, we are going to preview quail season. We're going to do the forecast. We'll have Ryan Sparks from Quail Forever. He's the one that puts together the quail forecast. Claire, you live in quail country. I'm guessing you're pretty excited this year.
Yeah. I'm very excited. So once November hits, probably won't be going out of state.
Right. Yes, this is going to be the year of the pheasant. It's also going to be the year of the quail, and we will tell you why and where next week. We appreciate everybody, all of our sponsors for supporting the show, and all of you for listening. Claire at ParadigmSportingDog.com. Appreciate everything that you've put together to help a lot of hunters out there in the field. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Flush Podcast.